Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. Manchester City smashed Arsenal 4-1. Manchester City 4, Arsenal 1. Another Kevin De Bruyne performance, another Erling Haaland goal scorer. So this is what it is, except from the Arsenal fan before the games. A lot of people, a lot of fans are predicted like that Manchester City are going to smash Arsenal. Arsenal didn't win any single game the last 3 games, and Manchester City has been absolutely the best at the moment on the world right now. That's why no one can compete Manchester City. That is what we saw the other recent days, and that is the kind of result what every fan should predict that they could see. And yes, we did. Manchester City smashed 4-1 to Arsenal. This was, we can say like a title deciding games, because Manchester City need to play 2 more games in hand. If they can, if they can win those 2 games, they are going to be, sitting on the first place of the table, which is very difficult to catch them. We've been watching Manchester City over the past 4 years. They've been winning again and again and again on over season, and only Liverpool can compete with them. And Liverpool won a Premier League, during the COVID era. But now Arsenal is trying to compete against Manchester City, and they did, and they are doing at the moment. Yes, even though Arsenal lost this game, they stay on the above or everyone else. Yes, because Manchester City need to play 2 games in hand. But at the end of the day, you cannot compete Manchester City, because City has been technically, or player quality, or the teams, the quantity, they are being absolutely so good. Okay, you cannot compete very easily Manchester City, because City have a money power. But if we say the money power, it doesn't mean they are spending every 300 million dollar or pounds every single season. No, they're not. Okay, but they have a strategy. They have a plan, which is led by Pep Guardiola, of course. That's why Manchester City is very difficult to compete. If you don't have a money power, it is almost like impossible to compete against Manchester City. That is what we saw today between Manchester City and Arsenal. We know how much Arsenal has been so good this season. We have seen what kind of performance can Arsenal show on the highest level. Okay, but when they compete against Manchester City, who are probably gonna win, the treble this year, if can anybody can stop it, I don't know, but it's like nobody is going to stop them, because there is no such a team in this world at the moment who are playing better performance than Manchester City. That is the harsh truth. Okay, so that's why when Arsenal faced against Manchester City, the real Manchester City, that is how they failed. 4-1, you have smashed. Arsenal couldn't do anything. Okay, they scored a goal from the Trevorhtun. But what I mean is, when you look at the first half, the stats and performance, Arsenal only had 2 shots, and none of them were on target. Think about it. Arsenal is one of the best teams in the Premier League. After the Manchester City, they are the best team in the Premier League, and yet they are off target. They were off target against Manchester City on the first half, and Manchester City only had 8 shots. 6 of them were on target. 2 of them were converted to a goal, which means there is a huge gap between Arsenal and Manchester City. Whether it is a bench player quality, whether it is a tactical ability, there are a lot of things. There is a lot of things that for the Arsenal couldn't catch Manchester City. So Arsenal need to spend at least 150 million or 200 million pounds in the summer to become like Manchester City. They are very good team. When you look at the stats, not sort of stats. When you look at the technical perspective, Arsenal has been absolutely so good this season. but they don't have enough quality of a player who can handle their jobs. So you look at the defense, Arsenal defense today against Manchester City. Every single ball came to the Arsenal defense are always dangerous. It looks like they are going to score it. That dangerous. Yes, that is what we saw against Manchester City versus Arsenal. That is what we witnessed it. That's why I think Arsenal defense without William Saliba is like they are just a normal team. Think about it. Today they conceded 4 goals. Before the 3 games, they conceded 7 goals. So the last 4 games they conceded 11 goals. How are you going to win a title with this kind of defense? Arsenal have to be better. Of course, you cannot let a player play who is injured, but you need to find a solutions. Okay, it is very difficult to find a solution when you don't have enough quality player. That is clearly we can we can think of. But the reason is today we saw a team with the perfect perfect players, perfect team for their system, and a team who are trying to compete Manchester City without having a good quality enough for player. And then we saw the huge difference. There's a huge gap between Manchester City and Arsenal. Even though Arsenal is still top of the league, yes, but Manchester City play 2 less game, which means if Manchester City can win those 2 those two games 6 points, if they can collect them, they're gonna be top of the league, which means they're not gonna be good come down. Okay, they're not gonna come down at the end of the season. That's why I think there is huge difference and huge gap between Manchester City and Arsenal. Today I think I saw something strange from the Pep Guardiola. It's not as strange actually, because after the World Cup campaigns we saw what Pep Guardiola did to his team. He changed formation. He changed everything. After the World Cup competition, Pep Guardiola played Manchester City based on the 3-2-4-1 formation. But against Arsenal, it is difficult to break the Arsenal's pressing system. So what did they do? They changed to the formation to 4-2-4. So which means they have a 4 fullback and they have a goalkeeper and they have a 2 central midfielder. That is how they are going to trying to get an advantage or numerical number from between Manchester City and Arsenal. That is how they break Arsenal technical approach. That is how Pep Guardiola won the game. The reason that one of the reason the main the bad point for Arsenal is Arteta couldn't do anything about it. Even though Pep Guardiola had to change and play 2 different styles, Mikel Arteta didn't have a second plan. He cannot think of anything to stop Pep Guardiola playing style. Okay, that is what happened. That is what happened when you cannot compete the giant one. Okay, so at the moment, I think Manchester City are probably gonna win the league, and they are the best team in the Champions League campaign. And of course, they are favorite to win the Africa against Manchester United in Wembley. Of course, I understand that, but Manchester City is so good. Arsenal need a lot of work to compete against Manchester City. So I think that's why Mikel Arteta and Arsenal players have to take the responsibility for this one. They are not terrible actually, but they are not that good when you compete against Manchester City, and you need a lot of quality player. That's it. So I think that's why title is the Manchester City at the moment, in my opinion. So what do you think about this game, man? So do you think Pep Guardiola outsmart Arteta, or what do you think about this game? Make sure in the comment below. Thanks for watching, guys.